All right, everybody. We're gonna continue to move on here in class. Like I told in another class, we're gonna pretend like I'm in the room, but I'm really kind of like not actually in the room. And so you're gonna see my little pretty picture down here in the corner. And I think that's the reason I'm doing this is to try to create some interaction between you and I. Because the first thing that I did this, a lot of you had said it was just kind of boring, monotone. So I figured if I put myself in the video, it's gonna help out with a lot of things. So we're going to move on to the next little section here, and it's called Capitalism and Economic Freedom. And capitalism is the type of economy that we have here in the United States. And we can easily define capitalism as individuals risking money to make a profit. And those individuals who are risking the money to make a profit are obviously known as entrepreneurs. Now, also in a capitalist society, in a pure capitalist society, obviously that's not kind of what we see in the United States. We have kind of a mixed economy with both command and free market. Capitalist society is also known as a free enterprise economy. Free enterprise meaning that there are hardly any or little government restrictions in terms of people buying and selling goods and services. All right, so we're going to look at capitalism today, and we're going to look at some major components of capitalism. There are going to be 5 major characteristics that we're going to discuss today. The first one I'm going to look at is this idea of economic freedom. Now, what you should be doing is that as I go through this PowerPoint, I want you to be jotting stuff down onto that notes, that sheet that the substitute teacher had handed out, and I also want you to be kind of paying attention and writing any extra information that you need to. So the first major concept of capitalism again being this idea of individuals risking money to make a profit, controlling the market, controlling what's being bought, what's being sold, is this idea of economic freedom. And this is a concept that we've talked about before. In terms of economic freedom, all it means is your ability to choose. To choose, for example, with the buyers, where they want to work. All right, I had plenty of opportunities in my lifetime to determine where I wanted to work. I worked in an ice cream place. I worked in a pizza joint. I worked in a factory. I worked in a grocery store, and I'm a teacher, so I have that freedom to choose what I want to do. I also have the freedom to choose what to buy. All right, I can buy stuff from Walmart. Okay, I can buy stuff from Market House or wherever I want. Okay, and I also have the opportunity to possibly own my own business as well. If I wanted to create my own business in Pittsford or create my own restaurant, the fish pond, which is going to happen sometime sooner or later, it's a possibility. Now, from the side of the producer, they have the freedom to kind of hire whoever they want, sell whatever they want. They can produce as many goods as they want or as few goods as they want. Okay, so that's the first major component of capitalism. The second major component of capitalism is the idea of voluntary exchange. And we can define voluntary exchange by buyers and sellers are free to engage in market transactions, meaning that you and I are able to freely enter and exit the market however we feel. I can easily enter the market by going to Walmart and buying a good, and I can freely exit the market. If I was a producer, I could just stop producing right away, and there wouldn't be any kind of restrictions or any penalties for me doing that. Okay, so voluntary exchange is another one. Now, when buyers and sellers are kind of engaged in the market, hopefully they're better off after they bought or have sold the item. Okay, so like the seller, for example, the seller is better off after they sold the car because now they obviously have made profit. Okay, so voluntary exchange is the second major characteristic. The third major characteristic is the idea of private property. Okay, I think the idea of private property is something that is definitely ingrained into us. That the idea that, this is my car, this is my yard, this is my house. If you mess with it, then there are going to be certain penalties. Okay, no one should be above the law and should be able to take your private property from you. Okay, so the idea like this is my house, this is my car, this is my Xbox. Okay, now the idea of private property does give people incentives to work and save and invest. If you didn't have this idea of private property, if everything was owned by the whole, would that give you an incentive to want to work hard? I don't think so. We work hard because we want to buy things for ourselves. I don't buy a car so that you can go out and drive it. I buy a car because it's mine. I buy a house because it's mine, not that you can come in and raid my refrigerator and eat all my food. No. The idea of private property gives the people the incentive to want to work hard, so that they can have their own private property. Okay, so we have economic freedom, voluntary exchange, private property rights. The fourth one is going to be profit motive. Obviously, if you're going to be in the market, if you're going to be a producer, your whole major goal is to risk your money to make a profit. Okay, so every individual, every producer of a good or service, bottom line, is in it to make a profit. Okay, now you could even say that, oh, nonprofit organizations aren't trying to make money. I'm going to say probably bullcrap. A lot of nonprofit organizations, the person who's running the program does make a good chunk of change. And there's been a lot of cases where people have stopped giving to nonprofit organizations for the simple fact that the CEOs are driving around in their Mercedes-Benz. Okay, so everybody who's producing a good or service is trying to risk their own personal savings to make money. The last one is this idea of competition. In a capitalist society, you have to have competition. In a command economy, I don't think we'd see competition, nor in a traditional economy would we see competition. All right. Now, ask yourself the question: why does competition exist? Why do we need competition? And it's all pretty much about price. Okay. If you have competition, which is defined by strugglers struggling among sellers to attract consumers, if you ask yourself the question, what does competition really do? Well, its whole major purpose is to try to lower the price. If I'm the only individual producing a product, let's say that it's this watch, I can jack the price up however I want. However, if we have two watches, I can't have the price of this watch be so expensive because everybody's going to buy this one. So eventually it kind of works its way out where it reaches an equilibrium between the two. Okay? So these are the 5 major characteristics of capitalism: economic freedom, the ability to choose; voluntary exchange, the ability to easily enter and exit the market; the idea of private property, that this is mine, which also gives in people work incentives; the idea of making a profit. Okay, so that's the concept of, the reason why I'm in the market, the reason why I'm risking my money is to make some change. Okay, and the last major characteristic of capitalism is this idea of competition. The idea that if we only have one competitor, the price can be as high as they want. Now that we bring other competitors in the market, it eventually stabilizes itself out. Unless the one product is a lot better than the other. For example, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Okay, something like that. Then you're kind of talking about some different situations here. Now, your task is to take the back part of your notes of this piece of paper that the substitute teacher handed out, break it up into 5 boxes, and I want you to draw a picture to illustrate the 5 important characteristics. Okay, so once you're done with this, you can, if you want to listen to some music, that's fine. But please be working on this. This does not need to be colored, but it needs to be turned in by Monday. Okay, I hope you're all being a bunch of good little girls and boys. And by the way, that's the beach out there, and it is beautiful. Shoot!